Thanks for staying tuned. That's still iBrandTV, and it's time to delve into the topic of discussion for the day. And yes, the President Muhammadu Buhari has re-echoed his government's decisive statement in order to restore peace to every part of the country. The President said this on Monday during the 58th anniversary of the Nigerian Air Force held in Kano State. He said, and I quote, "This government would not rest until peace and security are fully restored to our nation." This is disclosed during a speech at the event. Now, joining us to discuss this is Mike Cookie, a public affairs analyst, who joins us via the phone. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning and thanks for having me.
Good morning. Thank you for coming on the show.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's start with the president's comments. We've heard this rhetoric over time, over the course of his 7.5 years, or rather 7 years, administration. At this time, at this, the decisive moments in our nation's history, considering we have an election coming up among other security challenges, how much of an impact do you think the president's language as the commander-in-chief would, impact the security apparatus of our nation?
All right, thank you once again, Mr. Sampson, and thanks also for the way you have also introduced it. It has become a mere rhetoric.
Yep.
It's not the first time we've been hearing the president come out to speak in this manner. We are going to fight insecurity. We are going to see that the nation banditry is brought to a halt and all of that. So Nigerians are actually tired and fed up with such rhetoric. It's now just a cliche. Okay, so after 7 years of being in power, the insecurity has heightened by over 70%. And you want to tell Nigerians that in less than 1 year to the end of your administration, you are going to fling a magic wand and the insecurity issues will just go away. So for some of us, this is just mere rhetoric, and it's just a thought. If government have anything to do, if for anything, Nigerians are losing their lives in the droves. Okay, so I don't think we are not expecting anything much from this government in view of even the forthcoming elections.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, like you had just said, I was going to mention that some Nigerians also have shared their opinion about the fact that something that cannot be tackled in 7 years, in less than 1 year to the end of his administration, it would be tackled. Of course, they've come up to say that they won't rest until their government will rest until insecurity is tackled or brought to this barest minimum. But a lot of people also, or part of the government's Buhari's administration has come to say that the president met a lot of ills in the system and is taking time to solve or tackle those ills. And it might take a lot of time for it to be very, very obvious. It may seem like he's not doing anything now. Those are the words from persons in his administration, that it may seem like he's doing nothing, but because of the magnitude of ills he met while he came into power, tackling it might take so much time before it begins to show. Don't you share in that ideology too?
I really don't share in that idea or in that narrative. Of course, like you rightly said, those that are in the government, they cannot but only speak in favor of the government. But the reality on ground shows that the insecurity situation is being heightened. I mean, in the different geopolitical regions of the country, the insecurity is on the increase. So it's a lame excuse to want to say that it's going to take a while because you came in and you met this. So it's going to take X number of years, or it's going to take till eternity for you to want to fix the insecurity challenges that the country is going through. For some of us, those excuses can't fly, because one of the mandates on which you came into power was to protect lives and properties of the citizens. So if under your watch the insecurity have exacerbated so any justifiable reason. Not just in insecurity, in the different aspects of even the economy. The economy has nosedived. You came into this government when the exchange rate was barely 190 naira to a dollar. What's the rate today? So it's taking you over 7 years to want to fix those things, and you are just trying to play to the gallery and want to raise the hopes of Nigerians that you are not going to rest till you see insecurity. It's a good talk, all right. But Nigerians need more of action, and if you have anything you want to do, go ahead and do it, and let your actions speak more for you than mere rhetorics and mere talk.
Okay, but Mr. Mike, this issue now, the president is one man. Do not forget, he is just one man, and he has people who are supposed to work hand in hand with him. And of course, we just had the issue of the AGF with 80 billion naira, and amongst many others. Now, this is one man. So if this can be happening with people that are part of his government, don't you think that probably now it could be sabotage of effort, or rather they're just trying to make all the effort? According to it may seem that way, because he's just one person, and having people around that may not share in the same vision with him may just, of course, everything will be going down the drain. So looking at it from that aspect, what do you think?
Well, I don't know what you mean by just one man.
He's one man out of many others.
Yeah, so you see, so the buck stops at the decks on the table of the president, right? And then if he's having, whether you call them fifth columnists, whether you call them sycophants or people that don't believe in his vision, in the first instance, he was the one that assembled or brought those persons together, and that's why they always say that he should and will always take responsibility, or a good leader will always take responsibility of every action of whoever that is under his watch. So for some of us, that cannot stand. If you think that someone is not falling in line with your vision or is not in line with the vision of your administration, I mean, the next expected thing for you to do is to show the person the exit door, as against condoning such tendencies and want to use them as an excuse to justify your inadequacies. Okay, so you talked about even the what's his name, Accountant General, Idris Ahmad, that has been found wanting. By now, we expect that action should have been taken. Not just him, and for so many others that are also in the system. So we are talking about the will, the political will to be able to purge those that are found wanting in your administration, to show them the way out. That's the missing link in this government.
Let me butt in here. You just talked about the political will. Let's bring this back to security matters. Talking about the political will to address security issues, do you think that's something this government lacks in that sense? Because we've had several incidents of insecurity across the nation over the years, and it's seemingly like the presidency isn't doing anything about it. So is it a lack of political will, or lack of fresh ideas from the service chiefs in tackling our various security challenges?
It's a combination of both, my brother. Okay, because if we cannot see incidences of where the president have put his foot down, okay, against all odds, to take very unpopular decisions just to ensure that the good of the people comes first, then it's a problem. Even the service chiefs, before the service chiefs were changed, it took a whole lot of crying out from the civil society organizations and from different bodies. Mm-hmm. Because these service chiefs, the ones that were before these ones, they were practically unproductive. Mm. But we never saw a president that was up and about. So you changed, you brought in new service chiefs, you rejigged them, but there have not been any significant impact. Look, in other crimes, and there are some persons that have even called out for such kind of actions. If these service chiefs are being overwhelmed, look, there is absolutely nothing wrong in looking for help elsewhere. The most important thing is the protection of the lives of Nigerians. There are countries where they have gone out to look out for mercenaries to come and help them because the security challenge was overwhelming.
Are you then advocating?
But politics is everything has been shredded in politics.
Let me interrupt you, please.
Dying by the day.
Let me interrupt you here, please. Are you advocating that we deploy the use of mercenaries in addressing our security challenges, either in Northwest, Northeast, or even in the Southeast?
Look, there is absolutely nothing too much to throw in, just to keep Nigerians safe. If that will bring about the safety of lives and property of Nigerians, why not?
For a nation that is battling with a battered economy and is saying there is no money to even fund basic sectors like our education, where do you think they will get monies to deploy or employ the services of mercenaries?
So the same question I want to ask you: the 80 billion naira that was stolen by the accountant general, how come? Where did the money come from?
I doubt that can get you the services of mercenaries. Really, I mean, 80 billion is minimal in its cost of things.
That is just a fraction of what is being stolen out of this system.
Okay.
This economy is hemorrhaging. I mean, when you look through, whether it is from the NDDC reports that you see millions that are being stolen, or is it from the NFPC side? Come on, what are we talking about here?
Okay, Michael.
There is nothing that is too much to spare for the safety of the lives of Nigerians.
Okay, but before we go into the next conversation, this government has less than 12 months to be in power, less than a year to be in power. So even if we are to employ machineries, are we going to do that with this government, or we should just sit back and wait for the next government? Because this is an electioneering year. Everybody's getting towards the election, the primaries here and there, INEC and what have you. So right now, as it stands now, we cannot even... You have just said that this government does not have enough time to tackle insecurity as it has promised. So do we wait for the next government, or we should manage the time we have properly?
Well, I'm not a security expert. Actually, I'm not. But I mean, in my thinking, I want to say that this government, if this government really want to put its act together, they can really do it, because it is the same military, this same military that we have that have been doing exploits in other countries, the liberation of Sierra Leone, Liberia, and others. It is Nigerian military that's in the front row. We have heard cases, we've heard reports where even some of these soldiers are crying out that the whole thing has been politicized. At the hem of affair of the military leadership, monies that are meant for the rank and file, it does not get to them. We have seen the wives of slain soldiers that have been thrown to the streets. So it's more around the political will for government to be able to sit up and nip some of these excesses in the board.
Okay, all right, now, yeah, amongst many other things we have to say concerning this conversation, but we have to move to the next one that says the federal government and the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NIFRU, have won the case against the state governors over the financial autonomy, I beg your pardon, from the local government joint accounts. Justice Iyan Ekwo of the Federal High Court delivered the ruling on Monday in favor of the federal government. The NFRU had in June 2019 issued guidelines aimed at curbing crime vulnerabilities created by cash withdrawals from local government accounts by various state governments.